Welcome to Perry Park for the FQPL Grand Final in what is a massive first versus second clash between Redlands United and Rochedale Rovers. Plenty of firepower in these sides today and plenty on the line. Redlands able to snatch the premiership, but tonight the championship, the grand final up for play. All of that to come in just a moment as we throw up to your game callers, James Coughlin and Simon Smale.
Thanks, Campbell. Well, here we are. It's grand final day, and we've got two excellent contests coming your way on FQTV, starting with the FQPL 1 decider between Redlands and Rochedale Rovers. I'm James Coughlin. Let's check out the team list, starting with the Premiers, Redlands United. They are warming up before today's game. Unchanged at the back, keeper Ryan Govan making his 8th straight start. One change in midfield with captain Sam Langley coming in for Ryan Hughes, who drops to the bench. And up front, co-Golden Boot winner Rio Emoto returns as well, with mid-season signing Mitch Bird making way. Campbell caught up with Graham Harvey before the match. Let's hear what he had to say.
Graham Harvey, head coach of Redlands United. Graham, great season for the club, able to bounce back, promotion, premiership, but tonight a real opportunity to do the double and add another bit of silverware to the cabinet.
Yeah, it's exactly what we said to the lads. The job of the club was to get straight back up, which is what they've achieved. So huge credit to the boys and the coaching staff involved. So tonight's like a little bit of a free hit for us, another opportunity for the lads to win a trophy. So yeah, really looking forward to it. Yeah, we've had a good year.
You mentioned it's a free hit. It's obviously a big occasion as well. Everyone loves the premiership, but a grand final win will mean a good celebration for the boys and a great way to end a successful season, no?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously good for people behind the scenes at the club. We've had great backing from the board, particularly from the president there, Ben. So to try and put another trophy in the cabinet for those guys would be great. Obviously here on grand final day as well, so they can celebrate with us as well. So
best of luck for the game, Graham.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Now let's check out what is going on with Rochedale Rovers. There they are in their yellow and green strip. Coach Ross Davidson going with an unchanged starting 11 from last week. Goalkeeper Matt Lugo and midfielder Jackson Rossi, the only players to start every game thus far for the Rovers. And all eyes will be on prolific marksman Marek Mardley, the other co-Golden Boot winner, and he'll be tasked with leading the line as he plays in his first grand final since lining up for Lions in the 2018 decider. Campbell caught up with Ross Davidson, the coach of Rochedale Rovers.
We're here with Ross Davidson, head coach of Rochedale Rovers. Ross, great opportunity tonight. Rochedale have been trying to get into the NPL for quite a few seasons. We're able to do that. How big is that for the club?
Oh, it's massive. Everyone wants to play in the highest league possible, and NPL in Queensland is that league, and they've been battling for a few years. And last year, in fairness, they probably earned it, but there was only one team going up. But this year, we've actually done it, and yeah, the club's buzzing about it.
We're able to win the grand final in 2019, unable to be promoted that year due to the league, but another opportunity tonight to win a grand final. How good would that be to cap off a good season for you guys?
Oh, it'd be great, mate. We've had a really good year. Missed out on the league by 2 points, but overall a really consistent good year. And yeah, in Australia you play for finals. We're into the grand final with Redlands, and yeah, we'll put everything we've got into it and hopefully come away with the victory.
Best of luck for the big dance.
Thank you very much.
Yes, good evening everyone, wherever you're tuning in from. Welcome to Grand Final Day for the FQPL 1 competition, coming to you from Perry Park. It's Premiers Redlands taking on Rochedale Rovers, with both clubs looking to end their seasons on a high note, taking out a piece of silverware. I'm James Coughlin, and I'm very pleased to be joined by the one and only Mr. Simon Smale. Simon, how are you?
Yeah, great, James. Grand final day. It's a beautiful day as well, and it has been a beautiful day all day in the southeast corner of Queensland. I couldn't have said the same yesterday. So really lucky with the weather. And look, this is a big game. Two big teams and two teams with fantastic history. I'm really loath to say that they're are back where they belong. I think that's a bit of a cliche, but look, these are two big clubs, and it's going to be great to see them back in the NPL next year. And it's a great chance to show that this year as well, and show the success that they've had this season.
For sure. It's going to be a spectacular occasion, and we will now pause for a minute's silence for the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And the players going through their traditional pre-match handshakes. Simon, Rochedale, they went 2 for 2 against Redlands in the league this season. Does that have any bearing this evening?
Well, it's funny you say that, James, because I do have a pretty good historical fact. The last time these two teams were in the same league, apart from this season, 10 years ago, 2012 BPL, Rochedale actually lost to Wolves in the grand final and Redlands won the premiership. But the two teams did meet in the finals. Redlands won both matches by the same scoreline, 3-2 in that case. Of course, it was 2-1 to Rochedale this time around. Guess what happened in the preliminary final? A thumping victory for Rochedale, 5-0. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen today, of course, and it would have to be reversed if we're going to be talking about the same things, about the same sort of pattern this year. And Redlands are going to have a big win, but look, it is interesting. So I guess it does show that it doesn't actually have too much of a bearing. This is finals football. The league's done and dusted. The important aspect is that promotion has been sealed, and now it's this is just a free hit and a great chance, as Graham Harvey said, to win another trophy.
It is, and you always want to try and win the trophy, finish the season on a high note. And there are the two captains for this afternoon's match, Sam Langley for Redlands and Greg Cheshire for Rochedale. Our match officials for this afternoon's clash, the referee Liam O'Connor, assistant referees Cameron Fawcett and Jay Hudson, and the fourth official is Daniel Olsen. Mr. Olsen was actually in charge for the Rochedale semi-final last week, so there we go. Some final words of encouragement in the team huddles. And as you said, Simon, it is a beautiful afternoon in a season that has been so heavily affected by the weather. It is nice we've got a little bit of sunshine to finish things off.
Yeah, it's not the way the season started, that's for sure, but you know, it's glad that we've finally come good at this late stage. And I mean, no football fan in Queensland needs me to tell you just how difficult things have been over the course of this year. What with postponements, what with damage to fields. It's a real testament, I think, to all the clubs, all the volunteers who've managed to get things run this year, and we've still been able to get an entire season. We're pretty good up here in Queensland at doing that. It's the same case during COVID, but no, it's really pleasing to see, and yeah, full credit to all the ground staff and indeed everybody involved in the game.
And here we go, first versus second for the FQPL 1 Grand Final, Redlands, Rochedale, and the game gets underway. The ball going all the way down to Govan, the keeper for Redlands. He took over in the last few games of the season. This is his 8th straight start, placing Joel de Cruz in a sliding challenge in the middle of the park, and the ball goes over the sideline to the Rochedale bench.
It's always important, these early exchanges, just to feel out your opposition, see who's carrying a couple of niggles, see how they're setting up as well. So it's good. These first 5-10 minutes are going to be really, really interesting.
Certainly, and there is one of the players that I've got my eye on this afternoon. I'm sure you do as well, Simon. Marek Mardley in his 17 jersey, leading the line what a signing for Rochedale.
I'm a huge fan of Marek, have been for a while. Of course, he really made his name in the FQPL for Holland Park, scoring all those goals that season, and then won, 3 premierships in a row with Lions twice and then Peninsula Power, so in the National Premier Leagues. Queensland, the goals did drop off a little bit as he was used in different ways. It's great to see him back at the top of the scoring lists this season. 18 really good goals.
For sure. And the long ball from Cuschieri goes down again to Govan, and Rochedale looking to get in behind early, but thus far they just haven't quite got their radars tuned in properly. This is the first of 2 games coming your way on FQTV tonight as well. Got the NPL Grand Final Olympic Gold Coast Knights down for a 7:30 p.m. kickoff right here at Perry Park. So we've got you covered for your Saturday night entertainment. And we'll come back now for, I believe, a foul throw.
Don't see that very often. Certainly you don't see them called very often. It's probably slightly more common than we'd like to admit in terms of them actually occurring. But referee setting out his stall early.
Certainly, and Adley nodding it down, and another stoppage in players. Cuschieri was felt, and Rochedale playing on quickly. Over it goes now for Melville. Woodguard going for a run with a heavy touch and can't get around the fullback Broderick, who's continued his run. Sumiyoshi going inside, and Jai can't bring it under control. And the slice clearance goes over the sideline for a Redlands throw-in in an attacking position.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see Redguard there having those sorts of 50-50 challenges very early in a grand final. He has been sent off already this season once, so you don't like to see, or your heart sort of goes into your mouth. You catch your breath a little bit when you see the ball land in the way that it does, just because it must be so tempting just to put the foot in, especially and win the ball for your team. But it is Redlands' ball and a good opportunity early.
And the long throw in into the box. It's not a down chance for the shot from the top of the box. And here it is on the rebound with the curling effort. Another block made by the Rochedale defence. And now they could be looking to clear it away as Emoto went close.
Yeah, it was a really good shot from Emoto. He threw a maze of legs. I mean, if he could possibly have managed to squeak that through, then that's going to be a really difficult one for Lugo to deal with, because it's going to take deflections. He's unsighted. Of course, though, when it's such a maze of legs and a forest of legs, it's always going to be difficult to actually try and squeeze the ball through. So a good opportunity early doors for Redlands United.
That was their first proper forward foray, but now they're on the defensive as Rochedale slides forward, and the pass intended for Yinka Kahinde doesn't quite go the way it was intended to, and instead Govan will be restarting play. Look at the sun setting behind the Bill Waddle stand here at Perry Park.
The home of football, James.
The home of football. It's known by a couple of other names as well, but we'll keep it as Perry Park for the time being. And the Wolves, a good 20 seconds before it's reached the ground, and now Langley is putting it out of the reach of the boot of Emoto. Emoto has been a strong performer for Redlands this season. 9 goals, up from 3 last year, and a solid player for this Redlands United side, and one that will likely be looking to keep going forward into the season. And Emoto goes down, and there was a raised arm there, and Emoto clutching his jaw, much to the disagreement of the assistant referees in Rochedale colours in the crowd.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 of those. We'll get a look at the replay here. Well, Madley did raise the elbow and just to block off Emoto there.
And there are the Redlands support squad, a few members of the under-23 side. Won their grand final against Brisbane Strikers early today to complete the double.
Congratulations to them.
We're setting up for this free kick. Keep an eye on the defensive line of Rochedale, so they'll try and catch them off guard. A run being made by Emoto. It's a lofted ball into the box, and eventually it's going to be cleared away, but not all that well as Brent wins the ball back. Excellent work now for Redlands as they've got the chance. And Ben Santana unable to keep it in, and now we'll go down to our man on the sideline, Campbell Johnson, for his opening thoughts on the opening forays of the game.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, it's a brilliant afternoon here at Perry Park, and what a ground it is. Rochedale under a little bit of pressure there with Tabalon, but the pitch has held up fairly well due to the rain in recent weeks. Looking a bit patchy in spots, however, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays a part in this game. Spoke to Graham Harvey prior to the game. A great season from them, able to bounce back straight up to the NPL. And as for Ross Davidson and Rochedale, well, it's been a long project for them, but it can all culminate in a successful night tonight.
Campbell, you mentioned the pitch looking a bit patchy, and it really does on the camera. You would have walked across it a couple of times over the course of the afternoon already. Does it feel pretty heavy? We had a lot of rain yesterday.
Look, it doesn't feel quite heavy. It actually feels quite dry. It's had some good aeration over the recent few days. It's more off the pitch where you start to feel it's a bit heavy underfoot. So in terms of the moisture, it's quite good. But in parts, it's looking quite long, quite bobbly. So we'll see how that plays, not only in this game, but also in the game that's to follow. Obviously, Olympic a side that like to play it on the ground quite a lot. So we'll see how it factors into both blockbusters for tonight.
Thank you, Campbell, and you could see the bobble there as Ridgard was making his way down the sideline, but unable to keep it in. Cheshire thought about taking the throw in, but instead opting to defer to Melville. So try and get a little bit more power behind this throw in. Mardley making the run short, and target man gets it at his feet, and deflected cross eventually finds its way into the arms of Govan, and that chance from Rochedale eventually will come to an end.
Madley likes coming towards the ball to essentially get his foot on it and try and be involved in everything. I wouldn't mind seeing him stay in the middle in those situations, though, and let the ball come to him. Try and see what he can do in the 6-yard box more than anything. Just trying to perhaps do a little bit too much early. Wants to get involved, and that's great. You want your striker, you want your big target man to want to get involved, but he's at his most dangerous in the penalty area.
He certainly is, and he is a big target to aim for when Rochedale will look to loft the ball into the box, but he's also a very eager striker and wanting to possibly turn playmaker like he might have done for Yinka Kahinde as he'll look for the cutback, but no Rochedale players making the run, and that will allow Hawash to clear it away now through Ryota Sumiyoshi.
He's had another good season, Yinka Kahinde. Very impressive player. I guess it didn't really work out at Olympic for whatever reason, but he's a top player. It's good to see him going well.
And Brent in space with the ball towards the back post, just a little bit too far ahead of Emoto, and he's got the support in the form of Njai, who to go to work on the edge of the 18-yard box as eventually he's played off mid-season acquisition Ollie Dern for a corner for the nominal home side this afternoon, Redlands United.
Decent crowd building in these early stages. Of course, sort of relatively early on in the afternoon still, as we're getting into the evening. There's not many better places to spend an afternoon, to be honest, if you're a football fan.
Definitely not. Home of football, Perry Park. In goes the corner towards the near post and nodded away, but not completely dealt with there as Emoto able to get it there at the back post. He'll clip it away and chested down, but only for the benefit there, and it's fired over the top. As Luke Broderick was the one went close. Actually, I beg your pardon, that might have been Hitchcock. And you can see it was Dern rising highest at the near post. Emoto just getting his head up quite smartly to just clip it to the back post, and it was eventually chested down for Broderick to fire over. Oh, big pardon. Bonamy.
Yeah, he probably should have done better there, the 23-year-old. Big side of goal. There's obviously players on the line, and it was good awareness from Rochedale, after making the initial mistake, to try and get themselves back. And again, perhaps a little bit shaky early doors. See the back pass there not quite going to feet, and that's something Rochedale need to just take a couple of deep breaths, calm themselves down, and perhaps get the ball up to this man here.
And Mardley, he is someone who can make it happen, but our way through Hitchcock as he's played forward to Broderick in the 13 shirt. Interesting coaching advice. Ridgard and Hinde, he's stolen a step here and is on the byline trying to get around. Just so close there, but a little bit heavy on the touch. Was dealt with in the end by Hawash.
That's what I like seeing they do, though. It just brings a smile to my face when players want to try and work that narrow angle and try and make something happen. And look, they've won a corner here. It's going to be important for Redlands United to keep their heads, because they probably have had the slightly better chances in this opening, 11 and a half minutes. But Rochedale, look, they can score plenty of goals, and look, they're very dangerous in these situations.
That they are. And the tall timber of Rochedale in the box trying to get on the end of this, and over the top out of the fingertips of Govan, and Mudley with a wry smile as that deflects off his forehead. And Redlands able to clear it away for a goal kick, and I think the fingertip there might have just put Mudley off, as couldn't quite direct that one on target.
Yeah, it wasn't a convincing touch, but it was a very important one in the end. And yeah, you kind of need your keepers, and Govan, still a youngster, 20 years old. He does need, in grand finals, probably a couple of touches to sort of get himself into the game. You've seen young goalkeepers make errors in grand finals in recent years, or at least look under pressure and look nervous. So yeah, that probably wasn't his best touch, but he should and still take heart in the fact that what he did manage to do is put Marek Madley off.
Certainly, I'm not quite sure Graham Harvey was too pleased with how they handled that, based on the expression on his face, but inside do get the chance to go on the attack now, as Melville unable to keep that one in. I think Melville, one of the few holdovers from that 2019 FQPL Grand Final for Rochedale. Melville, Tom Carroll, the reserve goalkeeper today, Liam MacArthur and Jackson Rossi, 4 players that are still a part of the Rovers lineup. And Mardley trying to get it down for Ridgard, but once again, Rovers unable to hold on to the ball, and that midfield battle, Dern losing out in the end for Sumiyoshi. Gil Santana actually playing it off the defender for the throw-in. Angus Broderick, 8th year at Redlands. And Sumiyoshi getting the better of that challenge with Ridgard. Langley for Emoto, but just again that radar not quite as sharp as it needs to be in the final third. Yinka Kahinde making the run, but Mardley unable to pick him out, and Mardley tripping up Brent. And definitely some early nerves thus far, Simon. It's maybe starting to settle down, but the heavy touch, players getting used to the pitch. The acclimation period is starting to expire.
Yeah, and it's about this sort of stage that you'd expect the players to start to get the measure of proceedings, the measure of the pitch, the pace of the pitch, and again, just getting a hold of their nerves. You know, they realise that it's still 11 players on the field on each side. It's still goal at each end, grass mostly on the field, yeah, sure, it's got the big grand final sort of plastered all over it, but it is just still a game of football.
Langley just battling with his armband.
This is probably one of the things you don't want to have to worry about when you're trying to get a hold of Marek Madley and you can up the other end. You want your equipment to all be working pretty perfectly, so that you can only have to focus on one thing.
And here is the long throw set to come in from Brent. Long ball towards the group of bodies there, and eventually cleared away by Rochedale. Excellent vision from Mardley now, and Rochedale looking to hit on the counter through Ridgard. And he'll drill that ball into the box, and a loose touch. It could fall for Mardley, and just getting a toe to it was Hawash. And very, very nearly. First clear-cut chance for Rochedale as Mardley just looking to cut off the back pass for Govan, and ball forward. Cut out now, and again forward it goes as Broderick inside. Langley. Moto over back for Langley, and there goes Rochedale trying to get in behind, but it's Tabion there to mop up. Just sizing up his options, getting it through the midfield. Right, it goes for Ridgard. Try and get it to Cheshire, but can't quite work the angles. Just helps it on its way, all the way back to Matt Lugo. And the Turf Monster almost caught Tabion out there with a bit of a quizzical look at the ground. I think that pass went exactly where he wanted it to. Here he is again, just clipping it out for Melville. Just providing an option, but Rochedale just certainly can't get their combinations going the way they want it to at the moment. Out wide it goes now. Cuschieri inside for Rossi, and Langley with a well-timed tackle, and he gets it forward for Njai, and another pass at an awkward height and unable to be corralled by the Redlands forwards.
I think Madley was offside, which is why he backed off from that run, and he's been getting about a little bit, Marek Madley. Again, you'd expect that, and I like that from him. When he's busy like this, it shows that he's really got his head in the game, and that for the Redlands United defence should possibly sort of start ringing a couple of alarm bells. But look, he looks quick. He wants to win those knock-ons. He wants to try and get on the ball as much as possible, and he's making himself available. We saw the pass earlier on that he almost then got onto the end of, a very long, exaggerated 1-2. That's an underrated part of his game as well, his vision in those deep-lying areas. And again, I've now trying to say the same things, but he is.
It could break now here. Sorry, Simon. There's a shot taken on by Amoto off the back of Tabion. There's eventually another warning sign for Rochedale. As again, it looks like it is going to be the two guys who led the way for both sides, both in terms of playmaking with Rio Amoto and Marek Madley in terms of goals. They're the danger options, though. I've almost seen Yinka Kahinde making something happen there.
Yeah, it was a really good tackle in the end, actually, by Harwash. But, yeah, what I was trying to say is...
And down he goes there, Madley, calling for the foul. Sorry, Simon, but back to your point.
Yeah, he's a contradiction. I'm contradicting myself, but he can be a bit of a contradiction, Marek Madley. You know, I said I don't want him to drop deep, but then when he does make things happen. Still like to see him in the penalty area and getting onto the end of those balls like he was. But... yeah, it's been a tentative start. Not really clear opportunities so far. It's getting a little bit physical in midfield as well. There's a couple of challenges that referees letting go, which I don't know who that would favour more, actually, in this contest. With the conditions, probably both teams.
Yeah, it's tough to get a read because these are two sides that are so very evenly matched, and it does have the makings of another arm wrestle between these two sides. The first game of the season, which was actually round 4, didn't have the first goal until the 48th minute, and it's like it's going to be a little bit almost like a boxing match where they're feeling one another out, although Moto trying to make things happen. Goes over the sideline. And Ryota Sumiyoshi, the 23-year-old, formerly of Kashmir Antlers Junior. For a throw-in, not Peter, and it goes the way of Redlands United there, as I think I've been looking to play it off the prone on the ground Sumiyoshi, but instead it will be Brent coming forward for the long throw into the box.
Don't mind that as a tactic. Just get it into the middle. I don't think we're going to see too many players drop short.
Once again reaching the near post, but Lugo confident, but eventually perhaps a little too confident, although he spills it and then lashes out a little bit there. Looks like it was Hitchcock causing a bit of havoc in the box, and referee Liam O'Connor just calming things down. And that throw in. Lugo taking it and trying to almost pull it through the face of Hitchcock.
A combative sort of player, no, Hitchcock has been.
And pressure put on there by Njai, and a bit too much pressure in the end, and Rochedale will have the chance to relieve the pressure from a free kick.
There's been a couple of times already in this match that Njai's just got a little bit too handsy, and you can see him making little pushes, trying to block people off, and a lot of the time it's being let go at the moment, but in those crucial moments, it's a dangerous one for the player, because he might think that that's okay and he's going to continue to try and get away with it, and then it might cost Redlands a good opportunity when the referee does decide to ping him when it's done in a dangerous position.
And Njai the target of that throw-in, and eventually via a couple of deflections it goes to Emoto. Can't keep it in. It will be Kuskieri to restart play with the throw-in. The head of Cheshire, Langley is able to earn the throw-in there as Cheshire voices his displeasure. Sumiyoshi just winning the challenge, and over it goes now for Broderick. And he'll cut inside now on the right foot, taking the shot. Fires it high and wide. And another thing for Rochedale to consider, those fullbacks that love to get forward in Graham Harvey's system.
Yes, he's the grand half model, isn't it? That's what T sort of successful in Premiership Western Championship, of Western Pride in 2017. Note that Cam Crestani is going to be watching from where he is in the world.
And the ball in behind now. It could be on and off his line. Well was Govan, who had to have springs in his foot there just to clear that one away. And now it's Santana.
We've spoken about the surface and about the variable bounce. That's going to be a really awkward one for goalkeepers. He managed to do really well there, just to hack it away. Really, that's all he needed to do. But yeah, you need to be aware of that.
And he couldn't let that run into his box either, because if he did that, Yinka Kahinde would have been right in there. And this one does bounce into his box as the youngster regathers, and out it goes now. It's a little bit too tight of an angle for Brent to make work. Rossi just adjusting his socks there as Ollie Dern, who made the move up the M1 from Gold Coast United during the season. His brother Josh is still with Grey Pittock's side. He's got a little bit of midfield reinforcements, Ollie Dern. Only played 4 games, but certainly been trusted in the big moments, including the semi-final last week. Tabby on as he's got to do something with the ball there. Is there a red and black jersey just bearing down on him? And Lugo keeping calm.
Good pressure from Redlands United, but real good composure at the back from Rochedale, particular Tabillon and Lugo. The pressure is coming though, and it's good pressure from Santana and Njai.
And that does feel like something that the forwards for Redlands would have been instructed on as well, trying to put the pressure on the backs from Rochedale and maybe speed up their processes as they try and play the ball out from the back. Santana thought he had the ball there, but instead it comes back for a free kick. MacArthur is the young player of the year for Rochedale last year, and a guy that they've got high hopes for out at Underwood Park. You can see the Redlands Brains Trust at the bottom of your screen. Taking some photos to document the moment. Griffin Mansfield-Taylor, one of the assistants who's progressed up from the 18s. Progression in the clubs, not just for players, but for coaches as well. As one is launched forward, but just a little bit wayward again, as Guard was the target, but Tavion apologises for the off-target pass. Davidson just Distracting his defenders. Down, but a bit of an air swing by Cheshire, and Naito just muscled off the ball. Another turnover in the defensive half, and that could very easily have been a handball in my mind, but nothing given in the end. Mardley almost gave himself up there, and he did just that. It's stop now for the throw-in, and another bobble just on this Perry Park surface. And this might actually, by the looks of it, Simon, be the game where you might have to look for those aerial balls. Well, it's a call for handball, and you can see why the Redlands players were appealing for it.
You can also see why the referee didn't give it as well, because the ball hand was in a natural position and it deflected off his thigh, a matter of centimetres away from where the hand was. And I think under the rules, as they are currently written, that is not a handball. Always willing to be corrected on these matters, but
it's a driven ball into the box from the free kick, and here is Amoto at the top of the box, and can't quite fashion the space for a clean chance, and Langley lunges into that challenge, but he's been caught out, and here is Ridgard. He's got space. He's going forward. He's got Cheshire out to his right. He might opt to go himself. Ridgard just looks like he stepped on the ball there and just got it caught under his foot.
He had too many options, actually. He had a player left in Yinka Kahinde, he had Marek Madley right, and I think all of a sudden he suddenly realised he's on the edge of the penalty area and wasn't sure where else he needed to go. So a difficult one there. You just wonder whether or not an earlier pass, and again, hindsight's a brilliant thing, and it's a very easy game when you're playing it from here, but just wonder or not whether an early pass out wide left and then getting your gas on to get into the box might have been a little bit of a better option.
Well, I've heard some forwards say that, they don't want too many options in that situation. They just want to make the easy pass. Let's go down to Campbell Johnson on the sideline.
Thanks, James. Yeah, it's been a tough start to the game, a tight start. Both sides struggling to break down. We've been talking about the firepower up top. Ollie Yinka Kahinde there, winning it back, one of them. And obviously Marek Madley. It's a great attacking partnership there, arguably the best in the competition. But it's the stingiest defence in Redlands that might win out in this one.
And it could be in now behind for Santana, as he's just issued away from goal there by Melville. And eventually the sliding challenge, and just a little bit of feeling in the game, Campbell, as well.
Yeah, there's a little bit of intensity, some fire starting to bed its way into this game. Graham Harvey, the coach of Redlands United, I'm sure the effects mics are picking it up, getting very heated on the touchline here. And it's a big occasion. There's plenty of back and forth, not only on the pitch, but also off it.
Well, stay safe in the crossfire, Campbell. We'll come back to you later on in the game, as again, it's another long throw in for Redlands. And dealt with by the first defender and just hoofed clear. And beautiful first touch there by Mardley, and that could open up a chance as the switch is on for Yinka Kahinde. He's able to track back and bring the ball back under control.
Yeah, superb from Madley, and Yinka Kahinde did well not to give up on that ball as well.
And again, that long switch of play, but tracking back well was Brent, trying to get in the way of Mardley.
And that's a difficult one for the striker, because he can see it coming from a long way out, and it must feel like it's just never going to get to him. Really, really awkward one for Madley to get any power on as well. The defender did well though.
And knowing full well you've got the big defender coming at you as well, but here is a big attacker on the way through. It's Ridgard into the box, cutting back onto his left, and a beautiful challenge there from Hitchcock. That is as good as defending gets.
Oh, it is, but you have to question why Ridgard didn't pull the trigger. Surely one-on-one with the keeper like that, opted to try and improve the angle for himself, which you can't blame him for. But you wonder whether or not just a shot, real power shot in that situation, you're going to make the keeper have to make a save.
And he did stay down there, Sam Ridgard, as we'll check out this chance once again. And it was Mardley with the header to free up Ridgard, and that might have been the chance for the shot right there, but cut back inside behind the sliding Hawash. And what a challenge there from Hitchcock. All ball, and got it away beautifully.
Might have got a little bit of the shoe of Sam Ridgard as well, I think, in the follow-through. But yeah, you're right. It was a really, really good tackle and a vital one as well, because for a moment there, the Redlands defence went completely missing. Brilliant knock-on, though, from Marek Madley. Again, just linking up play like that, trying to get those flick-ons. And yeah, Ridgard, I might have been a little bit harsh because I think there might have been a bobble just as he was getting ready to hit that shot. So it's a really good opportunity for Rochedale. I guess more importantly now for Ross Davidson and his team is whether or not Sam Ridgard's going to be able to continue, because that did look like a pretty nasty challenge. Cam, I don't know if there's any sort of movement on the Rochedale bench or whether Sam's just taking his time, what you can see from down there.
We'll just await the brief stoppage in play now for both sides getting a chance to take some water on board, because Simon as well, it is, by our standards or what we've had lately, been quite a warm day. I think it was a maximum of about 27 degrees as well. So good chance for these guys to get some water on board, rehydrate, and hopefully have an action-packed final 15 minutes of the first half. But one thing that Campbell did bring up as well, stingiest defense in the competition for Redlands. This could be how important that first goal is for both sides. Redlands 9 clean sheets on the season. Meanwhile, it conceded 12 goals less than Rochedale and Southside Eagles. Meanwhile, only 3 clean sheets for Rochedale. So if you're Redlands, you score that first goal, you're going to be feeling pretty good about your chances as well, Simon.
Yeah, you do. And like Cam made the valid point, but this is the best attack and the team with the best attack and defence against the team with the second best attack and second best defence. But there is such a big disparity between the defence of Rochedale and Redlands, as you just mentioned. 12 goals over the course of 20 matches. I mean, that's a real testament to Graham Harvey's organisation skills and really just the way that he's managed to get that team all humming and in the right position at the right time. Did see them exposed very, very briefly there. But again, that's kind of what you want to see, isn't it? The top 2 teams at this stage of the finals. They finished 1 and 2 on the ladder. They're both going up. And again, 2 really good teams with great firepower, particularly Marek Madley.
And we do have a quick update from Campbell back on the sideline on the injured Sam Ridgard.
Yeah, thank you, James. A little bit of a belated one there, but we just had a chat with the Rochedale physio. Just a knock to the shin for Sam Ridgard, so he'll be fine to go on as he's ready to take the throw in here. Both sides obviously just taking the time to regroup, regather with just the final 15 or so minutes in the half.
It certainly looks like he's moving okay, James, and making those little runs in behind. That move broke down, but Rochedale are still trying to create those opportunities.
That they are, and some Rossi just giving it away there, and Govan will take the free kick. Rio Amoto, the 26-year-old, absolutely wizard with the ball at his feet when he's given time and space, and such a key figure for Redlands in their push for the FQPL Premiership this year. And these guys that is capable of breaking open a game like this on his own. Challenge made, and another arcing ball in behind. Just a little bit too much arc on it, which brought the defender into play. Harvey just continuing his discussion on the sideline. Sumiyoshi thought he had the throw in, but doing, and Melville will restart play with the throw in. Over the top it goes, headed out by Langley. Madley wanted it inside, but indirectly it found its way to Ridgard, but Ridgard loses out. Ball in behind the bobble, just caught Njai out as it went through at waist height, and that is such an awkward area for a player to bring it under control, and allowed Lugo to just calmly take that one with no pressure. Rochedale trying to get in behind Madley. The flag looks like it's stayed down against him. He'll bend it into the box, looking for Yinka Kahinde. But it was, once again, the Redlands defence up to the challenge.
Yeah, they're being put under a little bit of pressure now, aren't they? This much vaunted defence. Only conceded 20 goals on the year, but The Rochedale team that scored 53 goals, unaccustomed to being held scoreless.
See if they can find a way through here as that long thrown is shielded away by Mardley and Hinde. Cheshire with the deflection. There's the breakthrough. It's Greg Cheshire opening the scoring in the FQPL Grand Final.
Yeah, an unfortunate deflection, I think. Very fortunate if you're a Rochedale Rovers player or supporter, though. Just took it inside Ryan Govan's post. But again, it was a long throw. You can see Marek Madley just backing in, just making nuisance of himself. He had no intention of going for that ball, just made nuisance of himself. That's a bit of a poor error, unfortunately, from Hitchcock, just not making contact. But look, Madley just making a nuisance of himself. Real good work from Yinka Kahinde. And it did take a deflection. It was a powerfully struck shot in any case. And you're not stopping them from there, particularly if you've just been wrong-footed. Excellent start to this match for Rochedale Rovers.
And Greg Cheshire's 7th goal of the season, 33rd all up for Rochdale in his FQPL career. And it could be one of the more valuable ones he has scored for the club. And actually, one thing that does remind me of, Simon, as well, was last Friday's Kappa Women's Super Cup final. A similar sort of story for the opening goal there, where it was rifled in from a similar range, and just a deflection wrong-footed the keeper in the end. So it's interesting in these finals the last couple of weeks. It is the deflections that have broken the deadlock and opened the scoring. And Hawash with a little bit of a miscontrol there, and Yinka Kahinde, he could be in now, doubling the advantage, curling effort. It's 2 in 2 minutes for Rochdale. Olayid Yinka Kahinde, cool, calm and collected, one-on-one with the keeper, and he buried his chance.
Yeah, it's a superb finish, isn't it, from Frederick Yinka Kahinde. 12th goal of the season for the former Holland Park Hawk and an Olympic man. But look at how quickly he pounced on that error. He spotted, waited for the mistake to be made, and just leapt on it as soon as he possibly could. Hawash couldn't cover the ball as it came back to him. Might have taken, a bit of drift as it came down. It wasn't dealt with that well. And that's a real 1-2 sucker punch. You mentioned this might be a little bit like a boxing match earlier on in your call, James. And, well, if this is a boxing match, then Redlands are up against the ropes and might have just been caught right smack on the schnoz.
That's a wonderful way to extend on that analogy, Simon. But yeah, it was Yinka Kahinde as well. He made a little bit of chaos in the box there, as now they could be in for an automatic reply there with Sumiyoshi as he shoots it off the boots of Dern. But back to Yinka Kahinde, he made a little bit of chaos in the box there for that first goal as well, and it was his pressure there on the combination of Brent and Hawash to free up the chance for the second goal.
Well, you spoke, and Cam mentioned it as well, the best strike partnership, or most potent striking partnership in the league in Yinka Kahinde and Madley. Two very different players and two very different styles. Saw Madley kind of just being there, just being a presence. Yinka Kahinde buzzing around, trying to win the ball. And yeah, it was Yinka Kahinde who really created the chaos for that first strike. There's nothing like a goal to liven up a bit of an atmosphere, and it really sounds like the atmosphere has come good. Campbell, it must be pretty good pitch side.
A yellow card for Marek Mardley there for the fairly firm challenge on the Redlands defender, and Mardley voices his objections to that, as he is wont to do. It's want with an O. See here, the ball launched forward, and Mardley just making sure that if he at least showed the effort of leaping for the ball.
Not sure there's much in that, to be honest.
He's a big man and hard to slow down, Marek Mardley. It's his 4th booking of the season, Mardley. Cards were something that was a little bit of a problem for him in the past, but kept his discipline quite well this season.
Well, I think it's a consequence of him really trying to find his way in a game. If things aren't quite going for him, he wants to try and make things happen, and sometimes that enthusiasm can come back to haunt him a little bit.
As Broderick called for the foul, as nothing was given for him. Mardley, I think, assumed he was offside, and check this run here as he... Leave that analysis up to you, Simon.
The referee had a better view than I did.
Chris Chieri just needing a couple of goes at the ball to bring it under control and clips it out towards this near touchline. Ridgard, he's finding a little bit more space as this half goes on, goes through the legs there of Broderick, but the touch was a little bit heavy and it gives the ball back for Redlands, and Awash draws it forward and is asking a little bit much there of Amoto. Mills it out for Melville, and he's upended by Santana. Starting to see players just getting a little bit more space as this first half goes on and the teams settle into their patterns of play, and Gil Santana just making the strikers challenge, I think is the technical term for that.
It was a great view of it as well from our sideline camera there. A good opportunity for Rochedale to get the ball back into the box again.
And Mardley with the chest trying to hit it on the turn. And that looks like it took a deflection on the way through, and Mardley, well, that was what you wanted him to do earlier in the game, Simon, just be in the box and offer a physical presence.
Absolutely, but Redlands not defending him well at all, having two players behind him, and I know it worked out well as we treated to an absolutely spectacular sunset in the southeast corner of Queensland, but it just allowed him to chest the ball down and control the ball with his back to goal, and he got very close to goal in allowing to do that. I don't know why you wouldn't have a player try and go in front and try and cut that ball off.
It's a lofted ball towards Yinka Kahinde at the back post, and that header goes behind. Kahinde, another player that has started to come into things a little bit more in the last 15 or so minutes, as they'll just assert their dominance in the closing stages of the first half. Beautiful ball out now, and Ridgard, here he is in space. Ridgard with a heavy touch and just showed enough of it for Broderick. And another desperation challenge for Redlands. They've had to make a few here, as you can see now the switch of play. Very smart pass, and finding the space is Ridgard.
We're getting in and around the edge of the back to Rochedale, and they've done it a few times already, particularly Sam Ridgard. Something that Redlands will need to arrest and certainly address at half time, because they're having a lot of success in those channels. And those quick turnovers as well. That's what's been really hurting Redlands at the moment.
And there's a header. It's towards goal and unable to be force a challenging save there from MacArthur.
I think the angle from behind the goal might have made that look as if it was a little bit more forceful than it ended up being. Again, great reactions from the crowd at Perry Park. Just didn't quite get good enough connection on it. Under pressure.
See, back to live action as Chieri trying to play in Mardley, but the left back might find himself in a little bit of trouble here if Redlands can try and attack the vacant spot. Dern's come over to cover. There goes Redlands looking for a way through. Beautiful slide rule pass. And here's Broderick from the angle, and it's eventually dealt with by Tabillon as he took it almost out of the hands of Matt Lugo.
Yeah, safety first from Tabillon. Did really well just to make sure possibly didn't get a call. Possibly didn't worry whether he got a call or not, saw the ball was available to him and just got rid of it. I mean, it's really good defending.
And for Rochedale now, probably the most important thing is preserving that 2-goal lead, as you can see. It's like a bit of a gut-busting run in every sense of the word for Angus Broderick.
Might have just got a bit of a knock there, Broderick, as he tried to get the ball across. Again, hopefully it's something that he'll just be able to shrug off. It was a great ball, absolutely superb. Yeah, it went down pretty heavily in the end.
And makes its way for Sumiyoshi as he'll clip it up towards Lugo at the back post, and we're now into first half stoppage time. And Lugo not wasting any time as he sends it forward, and Mardley is trying to shrug off Hawash as that is dealt with by the combination of Hawash and Hitchcock. Santana just unable to kick that one in, and I think Santana is a little bit quiet so far, you feel, Simon?
A little bit, but I think part of it is that Rochedale's defence is swarming around him, just denying him the opportunities to really enjoy much time on the ball. It's been good defensively from Rochedale. They've really brought the pressure, and as much as the pressure, forward pressure has come from Redlands, they haven't really had enough ball to use it, particularly in the last 20 minutes or so. That might change in what's left of this first half.
Moto trying to play it for Brent, but not enough on the pass, and here's another quick turnover, and Dern just escapes that challenge, and he'll switch it over again towards this near side. Mardley acrobatically trying to keep it in, but
I think it might have been that bobble again. Just as the grass changed was where he tried to control that ball. Oh, that's nice.
Moto just keeping it in, but for the benefit of Dern for the time being, and he'll seek the security of Lugo. And that will bring to the end a lively first half here in the FQPL Grand Final for 2022. Rochedale Rovers leading Redlands, and as far, Simon Smale, you would have to say it is a largely deserved lead for Rochedale.
Yeah, I think so. I think Redlands United had a pretty good start. They were putting Rochedale under pressure, and you kind of got the impression that was the way the match was going to play out. But I tell you what, the way that Rochedale responded with that opening goal and then the 1-2 punch, and I think that's key. Scoring twice in such quick succession is so important. And again, against a team that has got such a good defence, not really accustomed to being behind in this manner. It is 2-0 to Rochedale Rovers. Greg Cheshire and Fred Kahinde with the goals. And there's a lot of work to do now for Graham Harvey in the second half.
There are, well, the players making their way into the sheds to get their halftime instructions and refreshments. We're going to take a break here in the commentary booth and be back after these messages.
Felton Industries is proud to be the official shelter and grandstands partner of Football Queensland. Felton offers a range of premium aluminium grandstands, from elite portable spectator seating to soccer team shelters for players and coaches. Give your fans the best view of the game with Felton's comfortable spectator seating. With sun-safe shelters or powder-coated in your team colours. Whatever your club needs, Felton has a high-quality, low-maintenance seating option to suit. We are the pioneers in Australian-made grandstands and team shelters. Contact Felton today on 1800 834 016 or visit felton.net.
Vito Sports pride themselves on delivering top-quality FIFA regulation compliant goals. Each goal is made from durable, high-density, thick aluminium and then finished in a white powder coat. To provide quick delivery, Vito Sports stock all goals in this range within their Brisbane distribution warehouse, allowing customers to quote, order and deliver in a matter of days. If you'd like to inquire about the Vito Sports goal range, email us at admin@vitosports.com.
And welcome back to Perry Park. It's the 2022 FQPL Grand Final. James Coughlin and Simon Smale here in commentary for you as the sun sets. We get a spectacular view back of Perry Park, the home of football in Queensland. Let's check out some of the first half highlights. And this was where the game really started to take off, Simon. This chance now for Sam Ridgard.
It was never quite sat up for him in the end, but a really great flick on by Marek Madley, who has been involved throughout, and I guess that showed him the opening goal as well.
It was Greg Cheshire breaking the deadlock, just blasting it there via a deflection off the leg there of Broderick.
Yeah, it was a fortunate deflection, but then the most important thing was that Rochedale capitalised on it almost immediately. And again, great work from Yinka Kahinde and Marek Madley. Slightly more passive from Madley, but just shows what a threat he is, that he can draw so many defenders towards him. And yeah, Cheshire did really well.
It was the captain scoring first, but it was that man, Yinka Kahinde, causing all sorts of chaos at the back for Redlands, winning the ball and then firing it past the outstretched arms of Ryan Govan just barely 60 seconds after they'd taken the lead.
So quick, wasn't it? Just wonder on that first replay we saw whether or not Yinka Kahinde had his arms up to protect his face, and whether or not there might have been a bit of a collision, but looks like it's all above board. And yeah, 2 goals in 2 minutes. I mean, that is a sucker punch for Redlands United of the Premiers, and it's you could argue that it's going to be pretty tough.
It certainly will. Now we are going to step away once again and throw to the FQ show, where Cal caught up with some participants from today's grand final.
So Gabby, you this year obviously getting relegated was sort of interesting with the squad, but you were able to keep the core of your squad together with a few additions. What was that? How helpful was that?
Yeah, definitely keeping some stability there. Carrying over from last season was really good. Obviously, the boys were really familiar with each other.
Yeah.
The new additions fit in really well into how Graham wanted us to play, and we definitely showed that, I think, from early on in the season. Although we kind of didn't start the season exactly how we wanted to, but we were, as we said before, we were kind of depleted going into the start of the season. But found some form, and yeah, here we are.
Yeah. A lot of that can be sort of put down to the form of 2 players, Rio Emoto and Gilly Santana as well. Have had an amazing season. Gilly sharing the golden boot with Marek.
Yep.
Just how much do they mean to your squad?
Yeah, obviously Gilly chips in with a few goals. He's been important for us this year. And then Rio's irreplaceable. I think I think he's one of the best players in the league, and he puts in work week in, week out for us, and he's like I said, I think he's got the talent to sort of go anywhere. That kid,
no, it's really good to see him in form, and just the season he's had has been unreal. So it's good to see. And I touched before on the joint golden boot winners. That's Marek has been a new signing to you guys this season. You needed a goal scorer, and who better than Marek Madley?
That's it. And he's worked well with Ole. I think last year we just had O up front, and so teams could sort of target in on him and put 2 players on him, try and take him out of the game. But you've got Ole and Marek, you've got to pick your poison, and they're 2 hard players to handle. So
if one doesn't work, then the other one.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Ole's got over 10 as well this year. So it's not just Marek, but it's nice to have him up there. Finish everything off.
Absolutely. And Alex Arillo has chimed in with some absolute corkers this year. Not as many goals, but boy, they were vital.
He's a very important player for us. He's a cracking player. We need him. So long may it continue.
Now, Gary, you're back in the NPL for 2023. Just how much does that mean to the club to bounce straight back?
Yeah, like I said, we targeted promotion as our initial sort of goal going into this season, and we obviously achieved that. As I was saying to Greg before, I think both squads obviously need to have a good off season. Probably bring in a few players as always happens, and I think hopefully both squads can fight pretty well in the NPL and stay there. Moving into the following season.
It's not just about sort of getting promotion there and making up the numbers. It's really about sort of having a crack at it as well.
Exactly,
so it's gonna be hard to break into a pretty well established top 4 over a number of years in that competition, but I think it definitely can be done. Like this year was wild in the NPL with the race but the battle to stay off for relegation there with some tight matches that are coming down to the final days. So it should be an exciting year for you.
Yeah, for sure. I think, going back to my Priders, I think we showed that a team like that can sort of challenge the top teams, and we're hoping next year we can sort of definitely stay in the mix. Obviously, as you said, it's going to be hard to replace those top 4 teams, but if we can win a few of those big games, I think that'll put us in good stead.
Yeah, nice. And for a club like Rochedale, have been such a massive club in the Brisbane area for a number of years. Now to finally be in the top of that pyramid, what does it mean for Rochedale?
Oh, it's massive. It gives a pathway to the juniors. As I said before, we've got a big junior pool, so it gives a pathway that they can be NPL here. For us, I think we got to sort of establish ourselves in the NPL now. It's taken a while to get up there. Try and establish yourself in there, and then you're at a club where you can try and attract the best players to try and crack into that top 4 and be successful. It's massive. It's a credit to the work the board and the volunteers and everyone have done over the past couple of years.
Absolutely, and got a new trophy cabinet in the new stadium, so the new clubhouse. Got to hopefully aim for some.
Try and put something in there. Yeah, that'd be nice.
They say you can't choose your family, but you can choose your football family. A family has legends you look up to. And the up-and-comers. A family pitches in and works together as a team. We have the ones who keep us in check, and we motivate each other to be the best. Be the best! But it's my brothers and my sisters who always have my back. That's why even my real family love my football family. So what are you waiting for? Join our team. Come on!
Welcome back to Perry Park for the second stanza of the FQPL Grand Final between Redlands United and Rochedale Rovers. Rochedale heading into the break with a solid 2-goal lead thanks to Greg Cheshire and Ola Yinka-Kahinde. Plenty of action to come here in the second half, here at the home of Queensland football, as we rejoin the match commentators, James Coughlin and Simon Smale.
And Simon, it has been a phenomenally entertaining first half, especially in the last 15 minutes. It looks like Rochedale adapted to the conditions a little bit better. As you can see, the surface a little bit uneven at Perry Park, but it is certainly one that can still hold a little bit of something in it for both teams.
Yeah, well, we've noticed a couple of times that a couple of players have noticed the surface, looked down at it quite accusationary, and there's a lot to be said that in a grand final, players want to be doing a lot of the, they want to be moving the ball around nicely. They want to be playing the ball, the sort of football that they dreamt about playing in grand finals. It's not always possible, and you have to adapt to those conditions. And you've seen that Rochedale have tried to use those long balls, trying to play those really nice slide balls forward into the right forward corner, as well as trying to get Marek Madley involved with those flick-ons, and that's where they've looked so dangerous.
And here are the goals from the first half. If you are just tuning in on FQTV, there was a little bit of chaos at the back off a long throw in a deflected effort from Greg Cheshire. 36 minutes in, and boy, didn't he love that. It was the combination of Madley and Yinka-Kahinde just a little bit of havoc there, and I think they were expecting Madley to go up for the ball, and Redlands failing to clear their lines. Cheshire there to punish them. The rifled strike. And pretty much straight away off the kickoff, it was Yinka-Kahinde getting by Brent and Harwash there, and a beautiful left-footed strike there, curling it past the outstretched hands of Govan.
Is that just a lack of concentration, do you think, at the back, a little bit rattled after conceding from Gabby Harwash? It's obviously impossible to know. You could see that Ryan Govan was pretty upset with his centre-back for allowing that ball to find its way through to Yinka-Kahinde, but did really, really well to get the goal. And Redlands, you'd think, if they're going to get themselves back into this game, they need that man at the bottom left of your screen, Guilherme Santana, to get involved a little bit more. You're right, I can't recall him having a chance in that first half. Certainly not a clear-cut one. A lot was coming from Rio Emoto, but we need to see a little bit more from Gilly Santana.
Yeah, and Santana backing up 11 goals in 2021. He is a proven scorer, but he's also one of those players that if you are going against Redlands, he's the sort of guy that you have to make sure he's not the one that beats you. And he does have experience in games like this FQPL Grand Final. Simon, I remember you and I did the 2020 FQPL Grand Final where he was a part of that Logan team that won the double. However, he's going to have to try and get by one of his teammates on that night as well, Matt Lugo, who's actually had a pretty interesting story as well, Lugo. He only signed late in the preseason as injury cover for Tom Carroll, and he's made the job his own this year.
He has, and look, he's a vastly experienced goalkeeper. I mean, he's still only young, 26 years old, and we always have to sort of suspend what we consider to be a veteran in this league sometimes. But at 26 years old, he has been around the traps. He played for Albany Creek as well for a spell, and of course was involved in Logan. Was at Logan during their cup run a couple of years back. So yeah, he's a vastly experienced goalkeeper, and look, he's proven to be a great addition for Rochedale.
And Rochedale are making their way out onto the pitch as they are 45 minutes away from a grand final win. They just have to hold out a 2-0 lead, which is known to some as the most dangerous lead in football. They did win the FQPL Grand Final in 2019 as well, finished 4th on the ladder that season, defeating Mitchelton in the elimination final. Went to Capalaba and won the semi-final that year before, winning a fiery clash with Sunshine Coast Wanderers 2-0. A number of players were sent off towards the end of that match as well. They'll be hoping that it's a little bit more civil over the final 45 minutes here, I'm sure.
Speaking of experienced players, it looks like Mitch Bird's going to come on for Redlands United there. He's the experienced player, formerly of Western Pride.
Mid-season signing from East as well, only got 4 games for them.
It'd be interesting to see what sort of difference he can make going forward. Didn't quite catch who he's replaced, but it's
it is an attacking presence that it does bring to the team as well. He started up front last week for them in the semi-final. And he is someone that can cause a little bit of havoc as well. And look at it now, and that's 4 out-and-out attackers that Graham Harvey is throwing at it in the second half. So while he did describe it as a free hit in the pre-game, he's certainly wanting to go out and win this game either way.
Well, he needs goals. I mean, there's no point in sort of dying wondering. You can tighten up at the back all you like. You're still 2-0 down. He needs to find goals from somewhere, and maybe that man there, Mitch Bird, is going to be the man who provides them.
It could very well be Mitch Bird. Back at Redlands after being there in 2015. Tabby unable to keep that one in, and it is Ryota Sumiyoshi who has been withdrawn. So midfielder for an attacker. Redlands not leaving anything to chance. And to paraphrase the Waterboy, Simon, it's last game of the year, can't hold anything back.
Exactly. No point in waiting for tomorrow, because I imagine tomorrow is going to be slightly fuzzy-headed no matter what the result is for both of these two teams, celebrating what has been a great season. Of course, one will be slightly tinged with disappointment. Redlands are hoping that it's not going to be them as they try and make something from this.
That long throw-in tried to pick out Hitchcock, but Rochdale able to deal with that threat as the floodlights are now fully taking over at Parc de Paris. Dern just launches that one up into the night sky, and Langley clipping it forward, trying to pick out Njai, but Tabion has come across well, and we haven't seen many clear-cut chances for Redlands, and a large part of that does come down to the sweeping work of Alex Tabion as well. He's just following Njai around, making sure that it doesn't cause them too many headaches. So we now see coming forward for the long throw-in, and it's Broderick. Towards the near post, headed away. Santana tries to, his influence felt early in the half. A Moto clipping it forward, and Jai. It was marshalled well there by the Rochdale defences. Moto looking to turn provider. There's Brent with the long throw in. These sides more than happy to use the long throw in as a weapon. drops at the near post. Yinka Kahinde just putting a boot through it. Mardley tries to rush it over towards Ridgard. And Santana just skimming off the forehead of Benenjai. And a late challenge there, and that could be a little bit of trouble for Broderick as he accepts his yellow card without much protest. Some players try and argue pretty clear-cut yellow card, Simon, but in that instance, just happy to take his medicine.
I think sometimes you just have to accept what you know, don't you? Doesn't always happen. You can be as blatant as you like about it on some occasions, but a really good opportunity for Rochedale here to perhaps even at this early stage put the game to bed.
More forward looking for Mardley, but was Langley alert to the danger and he cleared it away, kept in by Harwash, and quite cleverly is able to play it behind for a goal kick with the pressure from the on-rushing defender. So it was Kuskieri.
Well, Madeleine and Yinka Kahinde were both screaming at the assistants over on that far side. The ball had gone out. I mean, he's probably got a slightly better angle than they have, and neither of the two players closest to the ball seemed to think it had gone out. Talking about accepting your fate a couple of minutes ago. Again, look at that swarming defence from Rochedale. Instantly, there were 4 or 5 players around, creating almost a bit of a shield around the Redlands player. There's no options available to him, and then the attack dogs came in, won the ball back, and Redlands are all of a sudden back inside their own half.
And that is the interesting thing as well. At the start of the game, we saw Redlands trying to close down really high up on the Rochedale defenders when Rochedale had the ball, but it seems like for Ross Davidson's men, they're happy to just sort of sit back and wait until the danger man gets the ball before trying to close him down. So now just have a brief stoppage there as referee Liam O'Connor just checking on something. Dern, as he's put under pressure there by Amoto, he gets it forward for Santana, and Njai able to escape the challenge, calls for a handball, not heeded, and Njai fires it into Dern, cleared away in the end. MacArthur. Forward, Yinka Kahinde, some beautiful footwork there. Yinka Kahinde as he goes by Langley, and that is going to be another Redlands player in the book, as Sam Langley might have worked out the only way to stop that run from Yinka Kahinde was by taking him down in fairly unceremonious fashion.
That was excellent from Yinka Kahinde, wasn't it? Riding that first challenge from Brent so superbly, and yeah, I don't think Sam Langley was going to miss, was he? And it probably needed to be made. I mean, there were still three defenders ahead of Yinka Kahinde, but the way he was running, you wouldn't have put it past him to manage to slalom his way through them. Excellent run from the Rochedale striker, and yeah, look, they're growing in confidence as every second ticks by.
It's a searching ball towards the back post, and it's eventually able to find the byline, and back it goes for the goal kick. Too much power on that one.
Yeah, it was searching. Just wasn't quite available, was it, in the end?
Govan getting introduced to the travelling Rochedale support that have made the trek to Perry Park. It's flipped forward as Bird just can't bring it under control. He's going to go through a little bit of a acclimatisation period as he gets used to the inconsistent bounce of the pitch as Amoto earns a free kick in a very threatening position for Redlands. And look, there's still 40 minutes to go. This game is far from over, especially if Redlands are able to fashion something here.
Well, a goal here changes everything, doesn't it? And Redlands will grow in confidence from that, but it has been well defended so far from Rochedale. Free kick in a position where the attacker was going away from goal in a nothing zone. Maybe that might come back to haunt them. They'll be kicking themselves if this does lead to a goal.
Bonamy with the delivery towards the centre of the box, and looks like a Redlands player might have got their head to it as Tabion says, "Not down here, please," and Mardley gets a header off Bird for the throw-in.
Yeah, it looked like it might have been Nyai who was leaping, and look, there were a couple of Redlands players who had a fair run at that. Rochedale were were defending in a zone. Look, they nearly got caught out, to be honest. Redlands and Graham Harvey would have looked at that and thought, okay, maybe this is something we can exploit if we get further opportunities down in that zone, which you'd expect would have to happen with the amount of attacking talent they have on the pitch.
But they do. Dern just drilling it forward. Going to draw it as far as a Redlands player. Melville. Just another ball, hoping there'll be a player in the vicinity, but so it was sideline that time. Cheshire in the battle with Langley. The captain's going head to head. And it goes Yinka Kahinde. Graham Harvey issuing some fairly stern instructions about how to deal with the biggest thorn in his side tonight, i.e. Yinka Kahinde. As he's able to keep that one in with beautiful pressure on Harwash, squares it towards the middle, and that was cleared away well by Hitchcock because Mardley was waiting for what would have been one of the easiest goals of his career. Excellent positioning from the Redlands defence. Able to survive what would have been a very real threat from Yinka Kahinde as he continues his stellar evening. Looking to add an assist to go with the goal. Forward it goes. It's a continued run by Melville and just putting enough pressure on Hitchcock. It goes over the sideline for a Rochedale throw-in. It's a long throw to great effect already for the opening goal of the match. May be able to add to their advantage here. Well, not via a long throw in as Mardley. I think that one came off his face there as a double deflection off Hitchcock and Mardley's face. Sure. For Rossi, and once again it's Mardley trying to go to work on Hitchcock, but the defender held up well. Hitchcock of Rochedale, also a junior at Wolves and Strikers.
It's been a bit just like Brisbane City as well now, Hitchcock, from memory.
Also very briefly at Penn Power in 2021.
More clubs, etc., etc.
Schieri. He's got time to size up his options. He tries to play it to Yinka Kahinde, but by the nearest defender, and there's Amoto. Jai trying to feed it to Santana, and Santana's pressure could lead to an opportunity. Here's Njai as he gets by Lugo, and there's the lifeline Redlands were looking for. Ben Njai, and a little bit of taunting there, and this could all kick off now as Ben Njai, well, he got the goal, and he's letting Rochedale know it. It is still 2-1 to Rochedale, however.
Look, a really experienced man, Ben Njai. Not entirely sure that was called for. You've made your point. You've managed to get the goal that your team so desperately needed. It's a poor back pass from MacArthur. Lugo probably didn't make himself as well as good. I guess he's just perhaps informing Liam MacArthur that it was an excellent pass, an excellent assist that he might want to put on his record. But
now there's going to be a talking to for MacArthur.
I don't think you can book MacArthur unless you book Ben Nye.
Yeah, well, I completely agree with that. It was a very provoked lash out, but it looks like no card shown for Njai.
So you can understand why players get frustrated sometimes, because I don't think I've ever seen anything more blatant in all my life. Now, I know the officials have to make a note of who scored the goal when they scored it, and might have had their eye off what was happening on the field, but I'm I think Ben Yai is very lucky to get away with that.
He has gotten away with it, and we've now got just over half an hour of normal time, and Redlands are right back in this game, and that high pressure that we saw early on finally paid dividends for them. In the meantime, Rochedale will look to restore a 2-goal advantage, and here's Yinka Kahinde as he is dragged down, legally so, by Brent.
Well, that sort of thing can start to create a sense of injustice, and
that's lofted towards the back.
Dangerous.
Ball for Madley. Redguard was a target.
You mentioned that man there, Marek Madley. He might think, and again, he has already been booked in this game, hasn't he, Marek? You just wonder whether he starts thinking, oh, maybe I might be able to get away with a couple of things as well. Hopefully not. Like we said, he's been excellent from a disciplinary perspective this season. But again, when it starts to come against you and the pressure starts to build, and look, the tension's going to start to ramp up now, because we know Redlands United are a quality team. They've showed that all year. That's why they're top of the ladder. That's why they were only beaten 3 times in the regular season. That's why they scored 56 goals and conceded just 20 in the year. When they get a scent of blood, they're going to go for it. And again, we didn't like what happened after the goal, but it sets up a brilliant last 30 minutes.
That it does, and now here goes Fuschieri. Just checked his run. Ball back Yinka Kahinde. Let it run for Madley, and Madley was expecting Yinka Kahinde to keep the run going. Eventually it makes its way now for Emoto inside. Bonamy. With that long searching diagonal ball, able to pick out Bird, and at halftime change could be paying dividends for Redlands, as here they go on the attack again. It's Njai. Ball's fallen to him in the box. Could it be 2? Saved by Lugo, but not dealt with yet by Rochedale, and Tabion eventually just hoofs it clear. But Redlands, they are starting to turn up the pressure now as we tick closer to the hour mark. And perhaps a little bit of fatigue setting in as well for Rochedale, seeing a couple of tired passes as well. Setting up for a grandstand finish in the 2022 FQPL 1 Grand Final. It's Bird.
That's the substitute, making an impact immediately.
As it's lofted there, and Lugo with the clean take. He could very easily have spilled that one right into the path of Santana. And Dern just asking a little bit much of Redguard, and Dern is one of those players who you do wonder maybe where his fitness is at. He has only played a handful of games this year. 10 for Gold Coast United and 4 for Rochedale. Doesn't have a whole lot of minutes in the legs just yet. He's not going to add fitness over the last half hour, is he? Brent. Bird, I'm not quite sure how much he knew about that first touch off his back, but the second one was able to stay in. And now feels like as good a time as any to remind you to stay tuned on FQTV. Grand Final day continues with the NPL blockbuster Olympic Gold Coast Knights. It's not quite a rematch of 2019. I prefer the term Grand Final reunion.
Well, I like that. Might be stealing that for later.
Oh, make sure I know where to send the invoice.
Some very familiar names, though, on both sides in that game, and some of them wearing slightly different coloured shirts than they were last time as well. So, no, it's a game that we're all looking forward to, but there's still half an hour to go in this one, and it is reaching a nice little bubbling point, simmering away nicely, just for 1 goal in it. It's been an entertaining game, a little bit scrappy. You kind of expect that in grand finals, but Redlands really starting to rock and roll. And
it could be on now for Emoto as he tries to find the telling delivery there, as the hooked effort by Bird almost falls into the path of Santana, but Lugo swings off his line to gather that one. Now, Redguard, he's got 3 Redlands players for company, and Bonamy, like he was the one that played it out, but he did try and appeal for the throw-in either way. There's Madley with this back to the defender on the turn. Marek Madley! And Simon's reaction says it all there. For just a second with this line of sight, we did think that might have been creeping in behind the far post.
Or back to goal, Marek Madley on the turn. You love to see it, and he wasn't a million miles away from that at all. You could see Ryan Govan. He was scrambling a little bit. I don't think he quite knew whether or not that ball would escape past the outside of his post. It was an excellent effort, and Madley still getting involved, but showing a really cool head.
And a beautiful ball now. Bird going the other way, as that touch just took him a little bit too close to the byline. Now he'll have to try and turn provider. Deflected off the foot. Falls now for Melville. Again, trying to pick out Madley with the quick fire counter attack. That one under control. And it's their fullback Brent takes on what I think might have been intended as a cross, but wound up with the direction of a shot.
I guess he's just trying to catch Matt Lugo in two minds. Does he come and get it? Does he try and just stay and wait for it and allow those Redlands runners to try and leap in?
Madley is so strong, Marek Madley, and it just tries to see off a moto, but you can see the frustration building once again for Rochedale, and the decisions, well, you can't really argue with too many of them. There are some that you can see where Rochedale are getting frustrated.
I think that was actually pretty just hard, tough play, to be honest. You can see why Madley would be upset, but it looked like it was actually quite a decent battle between the three Redlands players and the one Marek Madley. But yeah, it is those sorts of decisions that you think could be 50-50 when you're playing, or they certainly then end up starting to escalate. And again, we come back to that Ben Nye getting away with the little head rustle, immediately following the goal.
Throw-in comes from Brent towards the group of bodies. It's headed away by MacArthur, but not dealt with on the first or second go. Third time they clear it out, but the ball could be coming back with a little bit of interest. Brent cutting inside with the space for the delivery. It's over the top of both Redlands' targets. As Cheshire puts it forward. Broderick. And a Rochedale player, and Bonamy will get a foot to the ball, and over the sideline it goes. Tension building here at Perry Park. 2022 FQPL Grand Final. Redlands with the lifeline. Guard trying to fashion a turn, but Langley in the way. Dern. You can see some of the younger supporters just getting involved. It's good to see the juniors at these clubs out supporting the seniors. A beautiful ball forward. It could be on for Yinka Kahinde, but just couldn't bring that one under control. And there's a crowd building. Some of those food trucks look tempting. Seeing if I can see our sideline reporter Campbell sampling the cuisine at Perry Park tonight. Nothing yet. Ball forward now, Madley. Govan has stayed on his line. And Madley with the deflected ball in there, and necessary intervention from Hawash. There it goes. Here's Brent. Harvey just getting the ball to Brent and saying, let's get on with it. And Jai, beautiful little ball in. Here's a touch. Is this the moment? Santana, excellent save. Lugo, he got a palm out and denied the on-rushing striker. And boy, that could have been the chance for Redlands to draw level.
That is such a good save. It was a really nice interplay there between Nye and Santana. Oh, Santana did everything right. Lugo with the big right hand. And then fortunately for Rochedale, Sam Ridgard, who was coming back, and he just headed the ball back to give away the corner. That's such a good save. It's a sort of save that you need your goalkeeper to make in those situations. And he might have just kept them in the game.
And credit as well to Tabion for not taking out the legs of Santana as the cross comes in towards the back post. Header on as Hitchcock just nods it over the bar, and back to that save from Lugo as well. That is something that has been arguably the strength of his game throughout his career here in Queensland. That quick reflexes, shot stopping, and he has been a feature quite often on the FQ saves of the week. Both at Logan as well. I remember there was a game there in 2020 where he was just unstoppable pretty much.
Yeah, his hands are fantastic, and he really does make those shot-stopping abilities superbly.
Ball forward now, Kuskieri, he's in as he cuts it back. Yinka Kahinde, he's got a wall of red in front of him, and shot gets a deflection there, and it took all of the pace out of it, which allowed Govan to regather. Santana, he's growing into the game in this second half as well. Gil Santana. As Yamamoto is tripped up, and Hawash trying to play it quickly. If you're watching through half-time, you'd see maybe Hawash just chatting with Cal on the FQ show. And it looks like it's a little bit of a renewal of hostilities in the background there as MacArthur and Santana were exchanging words. Ball crossed in there and dealt with again by Tabion. He's been excellent at the back when called upon for the most part. But now going the other way, it is Ridgard. He's got Mudley out to his right, and another beautiful lunging challenge there by Hitchcock. And we've seen some phenomenal tackles from defenders going both ways in this match.
Yeah, it's a really good stop. Again, on full flight, Sam Ridgard has been really, really impressive. Did cop a little bit of a knock in the first half, and I just wonder whether or not that tackle might have just started to play a little bit of a role there as well.
As he is feeling the pace of the game, perhaps. Forwards from both sides have gone through a lot of running, as you can see Ridgard has kept the run going, and see there if there was any clear knock that caught up with him. I think that is going to be the end of the show for Sam Ridgard. He's gone through plenty of work tonight as he'll make away with about 20 minutes remaining. And that signal is quite clear. Ridgard is going to go straight into the change rooms.
Yeah, really struggling with that injury as well, so clear he can't play any further role. Alex Warrilow is a pretty handy replacement though, won the FQPL double with Peninsula Power back in 2018. Back at his junior club now, yellow with Rochedale Rovers. It's not a bad replacement to be able to bring on.
Definitely. If you are looking for that insurance goal, he is a player that can hit them from just about anywhere on the park as well.
Yeah, 5 goals this season for Warrilow.
Again, I'm pretty sure all of them made the goals of the week contenders as well. Now, the question is, with 20 minutes to go, if you're Rochedale, do you look to try and make it 3-1? Do you try and get yourself that insurance, or do you sit back? And I think based on that substitution, it seems like they're not comfortable with that lead just yet.
I don't think it's the way Rochedale have played all year, really, is it? They want to win games and they want to continue to play games. Great touch from Madley, by the way, and able to find a teammate too, just to boot. Shame the move broke down, really. But Redlands, they are really cranking things up now. They're starting to play some really nice football, starting to gain a little bit more confidence. Despite their good start, perhaps a little bit shell-shocked early on. They're looking really good now. It's a good game.
And there's going to be a grandstand finish on FQTV as Warrilow just asks for the ball. Graham Harvey with some fairly blunt words of advice. Graham Harvey with a fairly decorated resume, and will be continuing over the coming months as well. Named as an assistant for Warren Moon. Potentially, Harvey might be reunited with a lot of these Rochedale players next week as well, with Rovers set to take on the Raw in a friendly. And after Brent is repositioned, that ball, I think it went in, and we will have a reset now with a Rochedale throw-in, or possibly went in and then sailed out again. As you can see, a couple of changes being prepared on the Rochedale bench as well. And one of those alleged changes is Sam Ridgard. He won't be making his way back onto the field. He may be getting instructed to put on a different coloured shirt. And Warrilow making a run ahead of Mardley. They just a little bit low on the pass, and I think that was a tackle that may be more suited to Ballymore than Perry Park. Sees Nancy receive a yellow card. And then another yellow card where I think there's a whole lot you can argue. A cynical pullback, if you want to be generous. Rossi, one of two players to start every game for Redlands this season with Matt Lugo, every league game. Towards the back post and over the head of everyone. And some optimistic shouts for a corner. It doesn't hurt to try, right, Simon?
Am I allowed to keep saying no comment to these questions?
All right, let's go down to our man on the sideline, Campbell Johnson. He's got an update on the injury to Sam Ridgard.
Thanks, James. Yeah, so Sam Ridgard, just an ankle injury. We saw early in the first half that he had a niggling shin injury, but this time it's his other ankle, and he's getting that iced up at the moment and strapped up. So his day's done, of course. Alex Warrilow coming on. And I caught up just before with Scott McDonald and Ben Kahn as well, the Gold Coast Knights and Olympic head coaches. They're excited for their NPL Grand Final, which is about to kick off just after this game. So make sure you don't go anywhere and tune in for that one.
Thanks, Campbell. And just before you go, a quick question as well. Is it getting a little bit heated between the benches?
Yeah, definitely. So I think Ross Davidson from Rochedale, he's keeping his cool quite well. Redlands, on the other hand, assistants and Graham Harvey himself, the temper's starting to flare up, starting to rise, as you'd expect, chasing the game with not too much left in it. So that frustration's just starting to settle in a little bit as well.
You can see some intense discussions taking place on the Redlands bench. Thanks for the updates, Campbell. As a reminder, yes, as you said, we're only a few minutes away from the end of the FQPL 1 Grand Final, quarter of an hour to play, and then it's the NPL blockbuster Olympic Gold Coast Knights. What else would you rather be doing on a Saturday night, really?
It's excellent to be here. Culmination of the season. 15 minutes to go in this game that's treated us pretty nicely as a starter for the NPL match to come.
And it could be on now for Redlands. Emoto with the long ball out wide. It could be the moment. It's Bird onto the right foot and just a little bit too far in front. Emoto chesting it down and cannot get the shot on target. And another chance goes begging for the Premiers Redlands.
Oh, look, it was just a little bit too far ahead of Bird there. See it excellently on the replay, and he just had to stretch. Rochedale players appealing for a handball, get a good angle on it here. No, it looked like
shoulder to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And in shouldering that ball forward, he actually took it away from himself, and then was always off balance with that decision as well. So it's good football from Redlands. They are really coming, and they're coming hard. So Rochedale, having led with that 1-2 punch early in the first half, or midway through the first half, I should say. Look, they're having to defend now, and they're really being put to the test.
But they are. There's Warrilow, the one substitute made. Both coaches have only gone to their bench one time thus far tonight.
guess don't change what's not broken. Redlands
And here's
move
Melville. He's escaped a couple of challenges. Searches for an angle to deliver it into the box, and he will settle for the throw-in.
Redlands' main change at half-time. Slight tactical tweak to bring Mitchell Bird on, and he's done the business. And you wouldn't want to change too much after that, even though you are still chasing the game. Rochedale, it was very much like for like, wasn't it? Alex Warrilow coming on, so yeah, I guess the next move is going to be very interesting. Let's put it that way.
Big decisions to be made for the coaches as Mardley get a clean contact on that one, and it rolls into the welcoming arms of Govan. It's hoofed away by MacArthur. Scieri just sliced that one over the sideline, and you spoke about the next changes, Simon. I can see two players making their way onto the pitch now for Redlands. It is going to be Ryan Hughes in 11, Dean Alterio in 14.
Two youngsters. Should say happy birthday to Ryan Hughes. He's 21 in a couple of days, so hopefully he'll be able to come on and help his team and give them an early birthday present to himself, from himself.
As Dylan Brent takes the armband from the departing Sam Langley.
Langley had been booked. It's not a bad decision from Graham Harvey just to take the skipper off. It's always a big call to take the skipper off, but that seems pretty sensible from here.
Drills it forward, and with 10 minutes to go as well. Yes, you're going to be leaving yourself open at the back like Redlands might have done here, as Mardley with the heavy touch. Just unable to find a way around Broderick. Some of the NPL Grand Final supporters are in the ground as well. Bonamy. Cheshire, and has once again launched it for Mardley, who able to bring it under control, and at very close attention from Broderick and Hitchcock, and that's gone behind for a corner. Strong work by Marek Mardley.
This is where he's so vital, Marek, because the ball's going to come up to him and he just needs to hold it up. He just needs to take as much time off the clock as he can and create opportunities like this where Rochedale can eke out another few seconds. And the pressure is really coming. See the cramp there. I think it is to James Bonomi. So
yeah, James Bonomi, who's just been marshalling that midfield as well, and
he's starting to feel the pace a little bit, and you can understand it.
Plenty of urgency in the clash, and will only rise over the next 10 or so minutes. Slip as the corner is delivered in, and almost broke for Yinka Kahinde, as it's again just chaos in the box. Almost paying dividends for Rochedale. So not quite the fortuitous slip, but
it's the next best thing, isn't it, though, for Rochedale? Another corner.
It's towards the top of the box there, and Rossi flips it back, and I think that routine quite went to plan, as they're now going to have to defend Bird, who gets over halfway, continues his run. He's got support with him. Mitch Burt goes out now for the substitute. It's Hughes into the box and out of the box. As he eventually cuts it back. Emoto high up into the sky, and Lugo taking every available second off the clock and caught that one under plenty of pressure. Goal kick straight to Yinka Kahinde. And Rochedale going on the attack again, looking for that vital insurance goal. We have another change coming up for Rochedale, and it is Marek Mardley withdrawn. And he will be replaced by Cooper McCormick. So size for pace in this instance, as Rochedale might feel like that's the way to kill this game off. So changes, in fact, McCormick for Mardley. Mardley, another player who's on a booking, and if you need someone to pick up a yellow card in a situation like that, it is going to be Cooper McCormick, who I think that might be his first involvement in the game, just colliding and just possibly trying to swap shirts with Emoto.
Yeah, about 7 minutes early for all of that carry on.
Another dangerous set piece for Redlands as they search for an equaliser. Redlands searching it there in the box. It could fall. Santana blazes it over. And again, the chances stacking up for Redlands in the final minutes of the FQPL Grand Final. It was not dealt with here by Rochedale, and Dern was the one with the air swing that, I'll tell you what, brought back memories of the opening goal for Greg Cheshire as well.
Yeah, it's a huge chance, isn't it, for Redlands United to equalise. Gil Santana, yeah, he's got 17 goals this season. A lot. He'd probably loved to have an opportunity like that in a match to add an 18th, but it's a hugely disappointing finish to blaze over from that sort of range. He had a bit of time as well to really line that up and put plenty of power behind it.
Just looking at the shape now for Redlands, it does look like they've gone three at the back, Simon, and it could be on up front now as Njai escapes one, escapes two. Beautiful save once again by Matt Lugo. He's going to have to do it again. He cannot. It's the equaliser, and it's Alterio making it 2-2 with 5 minutes to go.
Oh, well, it has been coming, hasn't it? Redlands United 2-0 down at the break. They did not want to give up on this one. They were really gifted an opportunity first up. This is absolutely brilliant, though, from Ben Nye. It's a superb save from Lugo, though. Never give up on the chance, though.
And the back heel from
Alterio.
And the back heel from Santana to set it up. And with possibly his first touch of the game, it is 2-2 now. Dean Alterio. And Simon, that just took your breath away.
It did, yeah. I was just choking on air there for a minute, and in excitement, and probably at the prospect of another 30 minutes of football, because it's been excellent. Redlands United, you can't doubt them. You can never write them off, and that's just sheer perseverance. I mean, Ben Nye, to win possession the way that he did, again, you've got to feel for the goalkeeper in that situation, though. That is a superb stop. A great presence of mind, though, as well from Gil Santana. Can't understate just how important that was, because if he'd just blasted over, just like he had done a couple of minutes before, well, it could have been a very different story.
Well, we may be here for another 30 minutes. We may be here for another 4 minutes. There's not long to go now. Can someone find a winner in normal time? Redlands pushing forward in numbers. And they've just gone to three at the back, as we were saying before that chance as well. And so they are going to have to deal with a very pacey Rochedale attacking lineup now with the introduction of Cooper McCormick.
It's interesting what Redlands United do here. Do they know that they've got the ascendancy? Do they know that they've got the momentum? And do they try and win it in normal time? Or are they going to sit back and say, look, we're pretty happy that we've got our way back into the game. Let's reset for extra time. Dangerous period if you've still got 4 or 5 minutes left of stoppage time.
Have they got dinner reservations after this? We just don't know.
Have we got dinner reservations, James?
Check the tracker. Throw in for Warrellow as for the byline, creates a bit of space. There's a cut back, Yinka Kahinde leaving it, and Kuski Harry. That's cleared the food trucks at the top of the hill. Once again, that bobble might have caught the fullback out.
Yeah, slightly disappointing way for that move to end, but Redlands need to be careful here because they obviously have just scored. Rochedale, having led for a long period of this game, over an hour, they really do need to stop.
And the crowd is getting into it as well now, Simon, as well. It's building up.
I was just about to mention that, the fact that the NPL final crowd have just come in, that adds a little bit of an element to what these players are going to be feeling now. The crowd really getting involved. And look, they're going to love this as well.
And Yuki Kahinde thought he got the ball there, and I'm inclined to agree with him.
Yeah, I think he did. It's a tough decision. Assistant referee is right there on the spot, so he's got a better view than anyone.
See there.
Tough one. It looked like there was a little bit of collateral damage there for Redlands United as well. Players bumping into each other after the fact, but this now is really dangerous for Rochedale Rovers. A fantastic opportunity from the free kick, and we've seen the way Rochedale have tried to defend these before.
Bonamy going towards the near post, and not a clean take from Lugo, and it's still alive now as it's Santana back for Bonamy. So towards the back post, Lugo once again didn't come for it. It could be on again. Alterio, and is that the goal that wins it? Brent, he's taken the armband, and he might have just taken the FQPL Grand Final. Chaos in the box, and what a comeback at Perry Park.
Oh, what a time to score your 10th goal of the season, wearing the captain's armband as well. Oh, you'd have to say that Redlands United have deserved this in the second half. Absolutely superb, absolute scenes at Perry Park. Rochedale Rovers, though, will be kicking themselves. It was panic at the back, and nobody knew what they were doing. Goalkeeper Lugo, he's come, he's flapped, he's tried to catch the butterflies, unable to do it. And look what that means to the Redlands United players. A small band of supporters in the grandstanders as well. And let's not shy away from the fact that they let the Rochedale Rovers supporters know that they'd just gone ahead in this match as well with less than 30 seconds to play.
And there may be a few minutes of stoppage time as well. A double change coming on for Rochedale. It is Scott Colson and Michael Morrow coming on. Two guys will hopefully be seeing more than just a few seconds of play in this grand final. What is it about late goals in FQPL grand finals, Simon?
Oh, it's just a great way to end the season, isn't it? From this perspective, especially when both teams have gone up. I think from this perspective, this really is just a showcase for what these two teams have been able to do all year.
Warrilow can't get the ball away cleanly. It was a closing down from Hughes and Rochedale. Now they've got to go on the attack. We've got 4 minutes of stoppage time to be played. Can Rochedale find an equaliser to send us to extra time? Redlands back defending in numbers now as it's headed away by Brent. Well, the regular season titles went the way of Rochedale, but right now it is the grand final going the way of Redlands. A phenomenal comeback in the second half. Now they just have to see out stoppage time, but it's chaos in the box at the moment. Shot taken off from range, Warrilow. And from that range, Alex Warrilow, that is his specialty.
Yeah, always fading away, wasn't it? But long throw, Scott Coulson's got that in his locker. Set up nicely. It would have been some goal if it was able to come off. And we're going to have another substitution as well.
Dan Varma coming on for Ben Njai. Njai started this comeback 30 plus minutes ago.
Well, one veteran for another. Right to the back goes Dan Varma.
And I think the instructions would have been pretty simple when he's brought on. Do not let us concede.
Every time the ball comes near you, get rid of it pretty quick, please. I imagine will be what the call was.
Shanked clearance. Santana. So smooth on the ball, Gil Santana. Just Gets the ball down this end of the pitch. 2 minutes of stoppage time remaining. Redlands just have to keep the ball down this end. Rochedale trying to get it all the way down towards Ryan Govan's goal. Chances may not be plentiful anymore. There is the hero, Dylan Brent. This is the first game of the season against Rochedale. He's featured in all 20 since. He may not score a bigger goal for Redlands United. Score in the semi-final. Bench for the Premiers.
Redlands have had some great days at Perry Park. They won an NPL Grand Final here in 2016. They also won the match against Adelaide United when they were A-League champions in that same year in the competition formerly known as the FFA Cup. Actually beat Strikers here in the QSL Grand Final in 2009 as well. So Perry Park's a pretty happy hunting ground for Redlands United, and they might have just added another notch to that list and another trophy to go all the way back to the second oldest football club in Queensland. Over a century old.
There you go. Still strong as ever, Redlands, and they'll not only have ownership, but they'll be in the NPL next year, as will Rochedale.
Not over yet, though.
Yeah, that's why I said premiership, not grand final. To be very clear with the terms when the trophies are on, but it is the corner. I don't see Matt Lugo forward just yet. Colson making his way in. It is Warrilow to deliver. It'll be bending towards Ryan Govan. In there, and Warrilow looking for the flick on. It's cleared away. No full-time whistle just yet. One last chance. Lugo launching it out to the far side. Anyway, Alterio. And another free kick now for Rochedale. And surely this will be the final action of the grand final.
Well, you'd certainly think so, but there has been a couple of substitutions in that time added on, and it is at the discretion of the referee. I think a lot of people forget that, but
it is the Redlands bench saying surely that time is up. Got 4.5 minutes of stoppages played already. The last gasp for Rochedale. And it goes. It's eventually dealt with. It's Santana nodding it away. And the long ball there, Lugo. He's going to have to chase it all the way down. And the double is complete with a comeback for the ages. Redlands 3-2 over Rochedale. They were down at halftime. Ben and Jai got them back into it after 57 minutes. And a late show. Dean Alterio, the substitute. Before Dylan Brent, 1 minute from the end of normal time. And what a conclusion. Simon Smale, the FQPL Grand Final, delivers on the drama again.
Doesn't it just? Come from behind victory for Redlands United. You can never rule them out. I mean, Rochedale were very impressive in that first half. Those 2 goals they scored back to back, punch to punch. It did seem that rather caught Redlands United out. But from the second half, the moment they came out in the second half, and again, can't understate the importance of bringing on Mitchell Bird on that left flank. The moment they came out for that second half, they were the better team. They were putting the pressure on. They were the ones really driving the initiative of the game. And last year when they got relegated from the NPL, I was worried for the club. It's an incredible bounce back, and they deserve an awful lot of credit, particularly Graham Harvey. But it's his second major grand final victory as a coach in the National Premier League system in Queensland, albeit the FQPL this time. But yeah, look, they can really hold their heads up high, Redlands United. But Rochedale Rovers, certainly willing participants. Excellent game of footy.
And now we do have Campbell. He's been able to pry away one of the Redlands players from the celebrations. Let's go down to him now.
Yeah, thanks, James. Not going to try and hold him for too long. I'm sure he wants to celebrate. We're here with Sam Langley, the captain of Redlands United, victorious Redlands United. Talk about a final 20 minutes. Your emotions, up, down, everywhere in between. Talk me through it.
Well, I came off with about 15 to go, so I didn't really feel it. But, mate, the boys have been incredible this year. You know, we've got the depth in the squad. We've missed a few games and everything like that, but the boys are unreal. Going into next year, we're just going to keep rolling on. But yeah, it's good to get to 3, promotion, premiers, and then the grand final as well.
Down by 2, managing to snag it back towards the back end of the game. How much resolve did the side have to show to then get that result, and an amazing result for the club?
Yeah, look, I think we got a bit of a bollocking at half time. G went a bit off, but mate, he's such a good coach, and he gets us up for these games. And the second half was all the boys, you know. We got together and we knew what we had to do. Credit to Rochedale though, they've been up there all year. They're tough for sure, and they're going to be up there next year with us. So we'll see what happens.
Well, promoted, premiers, and now champions. Congratulations, Sam. Enjoy the night.
Cheers. Thank you, mate.
Thank you, Campbell, on the sideline there as we check out the scoring plays from this evening's game. And it was Rochedale who were excellent for the bulk of this game. And it was Greg Cheshire opening the scoring, 36th minute. Driven strike there to open up proceedings. Something else in the box caused by Marek Mardley. Just backing in and almost taking 2 defenders out of it initially. Deflection then fell for Cheshire, and he made no mistake. Assistance as well. Rochedale not long after that from basically the kickoff. Misjudged header by Hawash, and was kicker Hinde drilling that left-footed finish there. And look, we have to give Rochedale plenty of credit as well, Simon. That was a beautiful bit of play from kicker Hinde and an excellent finish.
Oh, it was. He just never gave up on it. It is a superb finish. I mean, we can watch it again as many times as we like. It was absolutely brilliant. But they couldn't carry on with it.
And here is the comeback. It's where it all began. Loose back pass pounced on by Njai, and Matt Lugo, I think he was just as careful about making sure he got the ball as he didn't take out Njai by the looks of things here. And that is the second chance as well. Beautiful little back heel from Santana, and substitute Dean Alterio on his nerve from the angle. It's 2-2, and then just absolute chaos in the box. Last minute of normal time, was Bonamy asking the question of his former teammate Lugo, and Brent saw the ball, got the ball, and nodded it in for what would be the grand final winner.
Yeah, a disappointing way for Rochedale to hand the winning goal away, because they really did hand it to them. I don't think that was well defended at all. I think it takes a genius to see that. And look, you can see what it means now. Rochedale understandably devastated. They can be very proud with what they've achieved this season, but Redlands United, they'll be the ones celebrating long into the night.
Definitely. Commiserations to Rochedale. Congratulations for the triple. Redlands United. We'll see both of them in the NPL next season. Simon, this has been a lot of fun. What do you say we do it again in about half an hour?
Sounds pretty good to me. Let's do that.
All right, we'll see you for the NPL Grand Final on FQTV. I'm James Coughlin for Simon Snell. Thank you very much for your company. We'll talk to you soon.